Welcome aboard the magnificent Independence of the Seas, one of the most impressive cruise ships sailing the oceans today. Stretching approximately 339 meters in length and weighing more than 154,000 gross tons, the ship can accommodate around 4,300 passengers, supported by a professional crew of roughly 1,400 members. Powered by advanced propulsion systems, the ship can reach a top speed of about 21.6 knots, which is nearly 40 kilometers per hour, allowing it to travel efficiently between destinations across the globe. Before we begin exploring the ship, let's take a moment to enjoy our departure from the port of Miami, a place that perfectly captures the unique character of this city. The natural environment here is remarkably lush. Palm trees line the shores, rising above the clear, turquoise waters and creating a landscape that feels almost tropical. And yet, at the very same time, we are in the heart of Miami, a vibrant and modern metropolis, dynamic, prosperous, and constantly in motion. Beyond the boats anchored in the bay, you can spot artificial islands dotted with elegant waterfront villas, each with its own private dock, ready to welcome a yacht. It's precisely this striking contrast, the meeting of untouched natural beauty and luxurious urban development, that makes this place truly one of a kind. We noticed all of this while our ship was still sailing in the opposite direction from the open sea. The main cruise channel of the port of Miami runs between Dodge Island, where the cruise terminals are located, and the MacArthur Causeway, the main road connecting downtown Miami to Miami Beach. Our ship, the Independence of the Seas, is docked with its bow facing downtown. And because the channel here is too narrow, it can't simply turn around. Instead, the ship must continue all the way to the end of the channel, where the water finally widens enough to allow a full turn toward the open sea. And right here, during this maneuver, we pass something truly remarkable: Breakthrough. The revolutionary 118.8-meter superyacht delivered in May 2025 to Bill Gates, and the world's first superyacht powered by hydrogen fuel cells. But our time in Miami ends here for now. It's time to begin our journey within a journey, exploring Independence of the Seas while we sail to the Bahamas. At the very top of the 15 decks, the escape room, called the Observatorium, where for a fee, players work as a team to solve puzzles. In Deck 14 are present lounges with panoramic ocean view and the ideal atmosphere for sunset cocktails. In Deck 13 at the bow, the sports court with rock climbing, and at the stern, the mini golf. The running track is located at Deck 12, and from there a privileged view outwards onto the sea and inwards onto the swimming pools of Deck 11. In Deck 11 is located also the Windjammer, the self-service food court area of a ship. From Deck 10 to Deck 6, the passenger cabins, as well as in Decks 2 and 3. On Decks 4 and 5 are the main indoor common areas, the Royal Promenade, and the service restaurant. The Royal Promenade, an indoor boulevard that runs through the heart of the vessel. Lined with cafes, shops, and restaurants, it feels almost like a small city street at sea. The Royal Theatre is located forward on decks 3 and 4. Seating 1,281 guests, it hosts Broadway-style productions, including singers, comedians, and magicians.
I don't want you to end up like this, so please stay in school. I would have stayed in school, but Elizabeth Warren stole my scholarship.
Quindi qua c'è lo studio B.
While the Royal Theatre is the main venue, Studio B offers ice skating shows. Approximately halfway along the Royal Promenade, there is a staircase leading down to the deck 4, where, on a large surface, we find the casino. But in addition to the indoor common areas, the Independence of the Seas has equally interesting outdoor common areas.
No, Rashi. Breakfast tastes better if you washi. Happy to see you. Take care. Thank you.
And so, last but not least, common areas are the ones dedicated to the food. At Deck 11, the Windjammer is the main buffet on board. It offers a wide variety of international cuisines and is included in the price of the cruise. Open from 7 to 11 a.m. for breakfast, from 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. for lunch, and from 6 to 9 p.m. for dinner, is definitely the easiest way to eat on board. Even in peak time, it is always easy to find table. For those who prefer a more formal dinner, the main dining room restaurant, also included in the cruise price, is available on 3 levels on decks 3, 4, and 5. Here, too, wait times are virtually non-existent. The wait staff are extremely friendly, and the food is far more than decent. In addition to the Windjammer and the main dining restaurant, there are other dining options to choose from, some chargeable and some free. Among the latter, our 2 favorites are Sorrento's Pizza, a New York-style pizzeria on the Royal Promenade, ideal for a quick snack or a casual dinner.
Pepperoni?
Yeah.
One pepperoni, sir?
Yes, one. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
And Fish and Chips. Located near the pool, it offers classic dishes like fish and chips.
E qui ci sono le nostre chiavi. Una e 2.
And we conclude our exploration of the independence of the seas with our room. This time, too, as on every other cruise before this one, we chose an outside cabin with a balcony, practically identical to the one we found on the Jewel of the Seas, but with 2 different details that made a big difference for us. The first, the adjustable air conditioning. Those of you who have already been on a cruise certainly know that on cruise ships, the air conditioning is on 24/7 in all common areas, and it couldn't be otherwise. But in the small spaces of a single room, the ability to properly adjust the air conditioning can make the difference between a healthy vacation and one with a cough and fever. The air conditioning control panel here is extremely simple, intuitive, and above all, precise. This allows you to have the exact temperature you desire in your room. The second, we don't know if it depends on the characteristics of the ship or on the fact that this time, instead of being on one of the higher decks, we are on deck 6, and therefore roughly halfway up. But what is certain is that in the cabin, in any sailing conditions, we never heard any of the annoying creaks, especially annoying at night, and which had instead characterized other cruises in the past.
Quella lì. Poi dicevamo che questo è l'abajur con 2 interruttori, uno direzionale e l'altro più generale. un granchio che ha fatto il nostro waiter. Poi che altro? La TV, le prese, cioè due americane qui, una europea qui.
Vai a vedere quello di il biglietto del nostro ragazzo.
E questo è il signore che fa i granchi, i pipistrelli, i topi. Questo è anche il topo, non so se l'abbiamo già visto altre volte.
We took our first cruise on the Independence of the Seas, and we can honestly say that, even after the 3 wonderful cruises we've enjoyed before, this ship has become our absolute favorite. The comfort throughout the journey, the genuine courtesy of the staff, the wide variety of activities both indoors and outdoors, and the impeccable cleanliness of every space, public and private, truly set it apart. For us, it now stands firmly at the very top of the list.